Hi, friends. Welcome back to Live at the Roxy. Here we are. I'm Roxy. We are live. It is Tuesday, February 6th. A lot going on in the world of entertainment news and other things. It was announced today that Gina Carano is suing Disney over her firing from Mandalorian. And that lawsuit is being backed financially by Elon Musk, who said he would. And he is. So we will talk about that. I have to be honest with you guys. I have some conflicting feelings and we'll talk about it. So we're going to go over everything to do with that. Also, Tucker Carlson says he's interviewing Vladimir Putin. I have questions. Jonathan Major's sentencing was delayed to April 8th. They need more time, though. And trouble in paradise. And in this situation, paradise is Yellowstone. Mo money needed in order for them to shoot. It's crazy. The actors are just like, no, we don't want to do this for this amount of money. And Yellowstone is kind of like peace. But that's what happened with Kevin. And now that's what's happening with Kelly Riley and some of the other members of the cast. So what do we think is going to happen over in Yellowstone land? We will break it down. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here on time. What is on time when my show starts at a different time every single day, depending on what it is that I want to talk about that day and when news breaks. I was sitting doing work in my living room when I was thinking, okay, I want to go live at some point today. And when something happens, that's when I'll go live. And then I saw this Gina Carano story. And at first I thought to myself, Roxy, do not touch this with a 10-foot pole. You don't want to unleash the trolls. And I saw the types of videos on the internet about Gina Carano suing Disney and the types of people that were putting out these videos. And it seems like at least the first 5 videos that I saw that came up about Gina Carano suing Disney were like, get him, Gina. Let's go, Gina. Justice for Gina. I was like, do I want to be in company with those people who I probably disagree with on 90% of life? But then I thought, you know what? I don't really care if I'm in company with them in terms of putting out a video about this subject because I have different thoughts and I'm sure you guys do too. At the same time, my thoughts are not as cut and dry as this is absolute BS, just let it lie. So we shall talk about it. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. As a reminder to all of you guys, this show is completely fan funded. This network is fan funded. I am here for as long as you guys allow me to be. So go over to streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Support the show. Support me. Tell me that you want Live at the Roxy to continue. I very much so appreciate it. Like I just mentioned, I couldn't be here without you guys. That is the truth. And I'm so grateful for you guys to continue to want to hear what it is I have to say on all different entertainment topics and my life, and for you to continue supporting the show, including Lloyd Nance, who sent in our first Streamlabs of the day. He said, Team Stryer. Thank you, Lloyd. Mike Joyce, who sent in our second Streamlabs of the day, he said, it's unfortunate there's no good alternative to Twitter. If there was, Twitter funding her lawsuit would be the final straw that would get me to leave. The lawsuit seems laughable, though. Interesting. I want to hear more of your thoughts, Mike Joyce. I agree when it comes to Twitter. It's very frustrating. It used to be my favorite platform. It's now a platform that doesn't function as a tool that I can use anymore because the things that keep popping up for me are things that I'm not interested in. The algorithm doesn't seem to understand me anymore. I can't seem to see any of the things of the people I follow. The people I follow also left the platform, and I can't find people talking about the topics that I want to hear about on there. It's just become a platform that's not viable for news for me either. The way that they sort out their entertainment, it doesn't even give the top 5 stories of the day. I should have muted my mic for that. Sorry to put you guys through that. And also sorry for my very high-pitched sneeze that I have. It is the way that it is. Okay. let's go. Let's jump into it. We're talking Gina Carano. And in order to talk about this, we need to give facts because I know that we as a culture have, I'm going to use the word canceled, but insert whatever word makes you more comfortable here, canceled a lot of people over the last few years. And those have been for varying degrees of reasons. As you guys know, if you come to the show often, I feel as if we need some kind of a tier system so that we don't end up putting people like Harvey Weinstein in the same classification as people like Gina Carano or even people like Louis C.K. There's all different issues. And it seems right now, like when we have issues with people, what we end up doing is saying, we don't want to see you in society. And I also understand the fact that once somebody gives you the ick, once somebody, you know who they are, you know what they stand for, sometimes you don't want to watch them on TV anymore. Sometimes you don't want to watch them in movies. Sometimes you don't want to listen to their music. This week, I'm having an extremely hard time justifying listening to Nicki Minaj or Drake, as they both have come out and blatantly said they don't believe that Meg Thee Stallion was shot, even though there are hospital records, there is footage, there is the fact that in her foot there is a wound, a bullet hole. There are so many things. I don't want to get off on a tangent too much, but I'm just saying we as a society are allowed to not like somebody because we don't like them, and then allowed to not want to watch them. But are companies allowed to fire them because they do not like their opinions? Now, I'm not saying that is what happened here, but we will go over all the facts. And the reason that I want to go over the facts is because since we do have a tendency to go through a lot of different people's tweets and accuse a lot of different people of a lot of things, many of which are justified, sometimes we forget who did what. And so as I was sitting there today, I was like, okay, what exactly was it that Gina Carano said? I know that people say about her that she is transphobic. People say about her that she is racist. People say about her that she's anti-Semitic. But let's find exactly what she did say. And then let's see what it was that Disney did. And then let's see what it is that she responded today in terms of her lawsuit with Elon Musk. So we're going to do that right now. Shout out to, let's see, Chazarus, who says, I read Carano's complaint. The only complaint that is remotely valid is she got fired for tweets when male co-stars didn't. But she's alleging gender discrimination, which will be unprovable. I saw that part, and we will read that part. That's about Pedro Pascal, I believe. Maybe one of you guys can tell me what it was that he tweeted. I don't actually remember that, but would be interested in seeing it. Okay, so here are the things that we know from the past that Gina Carano said. All right. There was the issue of pronouns. Now, this is when most people started saying that they believed that she was transphobic, or I don't want to say most people, but some people. So she changed her pronouns on previously known as Twitter to beep boop bop, and tweeted beep boop bop has zero to do with mocking trans people, a heart and a 100 emoji, to do with exposing the bullying mentality of the mob that has taken over the voices of many genuine causes. I want people to know you can take hate with a smile. So boop you for misunderstanding. Smile, all love, no hate. Then furthermore on that subject, she was tweeted at by Joe Pag saying, not being coy, what is the woke world mad at you about? I'm looking at your tweets. Are they mad you called two women in a UFC fight ladies? Fill a brother in. Gina responded and said, they're mad because I won't put pronouns in my bio to show my support for trans lives. After months of harassing me in every way, I decided to put three very controversial words in my bio. Beep, boop, bop, beep, bop, boop. I'm not against trans lives at all. They need to find less abusive representation. Kind of a little bit of fighting words here, calling trans representation abusive and saying that they're harassing her in every way. Now, I will say, we do know that at the time, Gina Carano did post that she was getting a lot of death threats. And that is harassment. Now, I don't know whether that was what community that was coming from, or which people, or which bots, or which humans. I too receive death threats every single day and harassment all of the time. It is extremely frustrating, but I don't to say, it seems like she was correlating that was coming from the trans community, which I don't know where she's getting that information from. Okay, so that was one of the things that took place. Then there was some previous tweets that um, that people found where they felt like there was stuff going on with the masks as well. She tweeted about people wearing eye masks so that they could be, the government is pulling the wool over their eyes or blinding them to what's going on instead of actual masks. Something along those lines. She had a lot of questions about the vaccine, which I think uh, at the time really rubbed people the wrong way. Like she was an anti-vaxxer. I don't know that that is the case about her, but I think that that is how people felt at the time. But again, sticking with the facts, she tweeted about voter fraud. This was November 5th, 2020. She said, "We need to clean up the election process so we are not left feeling the way we do today. Put laws in place that protect us against voter fraud. Investigate every state. Film the counting. Flush out the fake votes. Require ID. Make voter fraud end in 2020. Fix the system." Then an American flag. I think that a lot of people are uneducated on the subject matter, and a lot of people are ignorant to this. Do I think the voting process is perfect? I absolutely do not. Do I think requiring everybody to have an ID is one way to keep poor people from voting? I absolutely do. Getting identification costs money in this country. If it did not, then maybe we could be working with a different system. But having an ID is something that you need to pay for here. And having a license is something you need to pay a lot for here. Not that that is the only form of identification, but I'm just saying there are issues that maybe she's not aware of when she's saying protect from voter fraud. It also seems to be she's implying that there was voter fraud in the Trump election, and just calling it the Trump election, and just, I think, left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and probably left a really good taste in another group of people's mouths. And then when it came to my people, I thought that this seemed to be what kind of put the final nail in the coffin. Oh, actually, before we get to that, she also had tweets about race that people didn't appreciate during BLM. These aren't trolls. These are people trying to educate you so you can get on the right side of history. That's in regards to Gina saying that people were trolling her. And she said, in my experience, screaming at someone that they are a racist when they are indeed not a racist, and any post and or research you do will show you those exact facts, then I'm sorry, these people are not educators. They are cowards and bullies. I think people took umbrage with the fact that she was saying these people, in addition to them. I don't know who she's calling a troll. Again, what community is she even aiming at here? Previously, it seemed like she was saying that the trans community was being abusive. Now it seems like she's saying that the Black community is being trolling. Again, I'm not saying that that's exactly what she said. I just think that that is the way that some people were interpreting this. And then when it came to my people, this was a post that she posted on her, I believe, Instagram story. This says, because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? And a lot of people said this was her equating being Jewish and being Jewish in Nazi Germany to being Republican in America today. And that was offensive. Now, I do want to stop on that point for a second and just say that I do think that supporting Jews is completely based on convenience for people, which is wildly fucked up to me. As a Jewish person living in America, I believe that oftentimes liberals are on our side and oftentimes conservatives are on our side, depending on what's convenient for their argument. And sometimes conservatives will use us as tools, like right now, where a lot of conservative politicians, Nikki Haley being one of them, who said extremely anti-Semitic things in the past, now is like very much team Jews. All this anti-Semitic behavior is absolutely horrific. And that is such a bummer, because also liberal people right now are the ones that are sending me death threats for being Jewish, having nothing to do with Israel, just for being Jewish. It's liberal people who are posting things that say things like, we love Hamas, which is a terrorist organization whose charter states that they want death to all Jews, which obviously is extremely anti-Semitic. So it sucks to be stuck in these wars all the time between liberals and conservatives who, depending on the day, support Jews. I don't feel like that's the same for a lot of groups of people. I feel like we get tossed around, and therefore it's hard to know whoever has our back, because nobody really does have our back. We're just used as convenience sake. But in this argument, getting off of that tangent for a second, it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous, the comparisons we make to the Holocaust. I can't continue on this show. You guys know I end every stream with "Don't tremble with the Holocaust." I can't. I guess I can continue to just say there were 6 million Jews that were murdered, 12 million people. A lot of experts believe that it was way, way more than 6 million Jews for being born Jewish. And because Judaism is an ethno-religion, you are born Jewish. So in my blood, I am Jewish. It's not about what you believe. It's not about what you're practicing. And I'm not saying that Jewish is not also a faith, because people of the Jewish faith have all different kinds of beliefs. But people were not murdered in the Holocaust for their beliefs. They were murdered for the way they were born. They were murdered for their blood, because, as Hitler said, for being the race of Judaism. So whether you believed in God or not, whether you believed in the Old Testament or not, that was not the question. It wasn't a knock, knock, knock on your door from Hitler and the Nazis and them saying, hey, what is it that you believe? Okay, because if you're on this team or this team, that's like what makes you live or not. It was, you're Jewish, you were born that way. It's in your blood. If you did a DNA, if we took your blood, you would be Jewish. Your lineage is Jewish, where you're trying to kill the entire Jewish race. So that's what it was about. So to compare that to being Republican in this country, which she's claiming in her most recent thing she didn't do, but she very clearly did do that here, to compare the two things is just so obscene and unfortunate. However, this is a comparison that's often made with all different groups of people. We're seeing this comparison all around the world at all times. This is the new Holocaust. This is like the Holocaust. People taking the never again verbiage and using it for other groups of people. It's just all of the time. This is something that is compared all of the time, every day. I never go through a day without somebody saying this person's like Hitler, this is like the Holocaust, it's a new Holocaust, all of that. And so I feel a little desensitized at this point to people who post shit like this, because it's like, it's everywhere. It's all the time. If every single person, I'm looking at you, Ice Cube, who kept posting about the Jews, things like this, was canceled, then there would be so few people left in Hollywood, because so many people have said so many anti-Semitic things. But okay, so those are the things that took place prior to Disney putting out their statement that said that they were not, Gina was not attached to any projects currently, and that they were going to be moving in a different direction. But that they also disagreed with what it was that she had said, essentially. Let's see what their actual verbiage was. What did Disney say when firing Gina? Because the actual verbiage probably is going to be relevant. Her social media posts denigrating people based on their culture and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. That was what they had written after already saying that she was no longer with them. So the full statement from Lucasfilm was essentially, I don't know why a lot of these articles don't include this, but that was the end part of it, saying that her social media posts are denigrating people based on cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. But the first part of the sentence was them just saying that they were no longer moving forward with her. There had been rumors about her having her own spin-off show. And so they were saying, we're not moving forward. We have no plans with her right now. But we disagree with her sentiments that she has spoken. Okay. Also in here, let's see. Chazara said Carano also alleges Disney harassed her by getting on long phone calls about her tweets demanding an explanation. Again, unprovable. Well, phone calls are provable. So we'll see about that. And I'm going to read what Gina said in a second. But before I do that, let's go over streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Like I said, this show is fan funded. Thank you so much for supporting me. I really appreciate the super chats. Remember that Streamlabs for creators are better because YouTube takes about 50% of creators. And so if you want more money to go to the creator, then Streamlabs is the way to go. But still appreciate your super chat. Just go to streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer if you want more of that money to go to the creator herself, which in this case is me. Jess Kuo in the Streamlabs, thank you, Jess, says Gina still had a job. She was in that one trash hunter Biden movie bankrolled by trolls that no one wanted to watch. What was the Hunter Biden movie? That's kind of funny. I didn't even know that happened. Okay. So on X today, this is what Gina Carano posted. Today is an important day for me. I'm filing a lawsuit against Lucasfilm and Disney. After my 20 years of building a career from scratch and during the regime of former Disney CEO Bob Chapek, Lucasfilm made this statement on Twitter terminating me from The Mandalorian. Oh, here's the statement. Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their culture and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. Nothing could be further from the truth. The truth is, I was being hunted down from everything I posted to every post I liked because I was not in line with the acceptable narrative of the time. My words were consistently twisted to demonize and dehumanize me as an alt-right wing extremist. It was a bullying smear campaign aimed at silencing, destroying, and making an example out of me. Let's pause right there. Now, actually, Gina Carano and Kevin Hart are in the same camp on this one, which is something I'm about to explain, which is if somebody throws something at you, whether you are that or you aren't that, how many times do you need to apologize? We saw Kevin Hart lose a job previously hosting an award show because things were pulled up from his past. And he was like, I'm not effing apologizing for that. I'm not doing it. It seems like she's saying the same thing. Now, I have a different way of life. It's hard for me to look at these things and not just say, if somebody asks me about something I did in my past, if anything ever popped up from my past, which I don't know what it would be, but say something popped up from when I was 17 years old or whatever, and I tweeted something bad, or I don't even think there was Twitter or whatever. If I didn't believe that today, I would say, that's disgusting. Can't believe I did that. Not who I am today. Here are the 10 ways I'm no longer like that. I am so fucking sorry I ever said that. Super duper not me. This is stuff that's currently going on with Gina, though. So if it was something I currently said that was misconstrued and somebody was like, you put out your pronouns, you wrote beep, boop, bop, or whatever, like, why did you do that? I would say, and I wouldn't have done that, but I would say, I did that because I thought it was a funny joke. It was really not a funny joke. I absolutely believe in trans rights. I think that I need to educate myself more. I am going to do this, this, and this in order to make sure that I am doing right by the trans community because they have been so badly treated throughout history. And I don't want to ever be somebody who adds to that pain and horror of people who feel like they were born in the wrong body. Like whatever it was that I said, if I didn't mean it that way, if it was misconstrued or whatever, I would just say, I'm fucking so sorry. Let me make this right. But she didn't do that. So it's hard because she's like, she didn't ever come out and be like, I'm so sorry. Did not mean it the way that that was taken. And I'm so sorry to the trans community. I'm so sorry to the Jewish community. I'm so sorry. Let me make this right. Instead, she got extremely defensive, which is usually the sign of somebody who's standing behind what they said and just doesn't want to keep saying it. And again, that's assumption I'm making, but that's who I am as a person. So it was hard to watch this. Okay. She said, the thing is, I never even used aggressive language. I shared thought provoking quotes, pictures, memes, and occasionally I used my own words, not with aggression, but with respect and the occasional comedy to keep the mood light in dark times. If that was her intention, it certainly was not clear. And posting pictures of people in the Holocaust to me is not thought provoking or certainly not keeping it comedy. So, I mean, like, I just don't even know how she could say that here, but okay. Look with your own eyes at what I posted and ask yourself, for example, where did I compare Republicans to the Jewish people in the Holocaust? I didn't. Ask yourself why they were calling me a racist. Was there any merit behind behind that or history of it whatsoever? No. Look at why I was called a transphobe. For making droid noises from Star Wars Beep Bop Boop was obviously directed to the online bullies and did not in any way denigrate transgender people. See, I don't agree with that. I mean, she's asking where did she compare Republicans to Jewish people? And I feel very strongly like that's exactly what she did by posting this, right? I can't speak as much to the race comments and the pronoun comments because, again, that's not my community. But I feel as if she did do those things. She feels as if she didn't do those things. That's kind of strange to me because they're written and they're out there. Okay, where were my questions about masks, lockdown, and forced vaccine okay to ask and push the subject into light? Should we have been allowed to publicly discuss those topics at the time without being harassed or censored? Absolutely. So, a lot of what she's deeming being harassed about are her opinions, right? It's not her opinions on movies or TV shows. Like, when people are like, Roxy, you don't like you said the Snyder cut did not exist. We should kill you. And it's like, what? Because I didn't think a movie cut existed. These were her these are her thought, and you should never send death threats to anyone, period. But she is being judged based on her thoughts. If I'm ever judged on anything, I hope it's on my thoughts. I hope I'm not judged for the way I was born. I hope I'm not judged for my hair, for my skin, for my gender, for my Judaism, for my height. I'm not judged for the things that I cannot control. I hope when and if I am judged, it's for my mind and my soul, for who I am as a person, for what I believe, for what I stick up for what I say. That's what you want to be judged based off of. You don't want to be judged for how you're born. You want to be judged for who you are. And so she's calling it harassment, but people are responding to what she's saying. People are not coming after her because of her ethnicity or because of her, because she's queer. Those are the things that when you could say you're getting harassed, it's difficult when it's based on something that you believe and people are responding. So she's saying, do I not have the right to feel these ways? And of course you do, but do people not have a right to respond when you're publicly putting that out there? Hollywood says they support female representation and equal rights. I'm going to pause at that sentence right there. We know that's not true. Hollywood does not support this. I don't know. When she says Hollywood says, it's like it's one person and they said that. We know there's been an issue with women in Hollywood for years. We know. Okay, Hollywood says they support female representation and equal rights. Why then were my male co-stars permitted to speak without harassment and re-education courses or termination, but I was not afforded the same right to exercise my freedom of speech? I don't know about this. I do feel like we have a different barometer for different people. And I think that's fucked up. I do feel like we cancel some people and don't cancel other people, or whatever that a better word for that is, because canceling is such a weird word. And I do think that a lot of the times we give men the benefit of the doubt when we don't give women the benefit of the doubt. This I do believe. I don't know that that's necessarily relevant in the Gina Carano case, but it could be. I think that there have been plenty of men who have said really messed up things about Jews, and they continue to work. And not only do they continue to work, but they book roles as Jewish people and then win Oscars for those roles after saying anti-Semitic things about Jews. That's crazy. That is true. That happens. It happens not just in Hollywood. It happens all the time where women are not treated fairly. Again, don't know that that's relevant here. Might be, might not be, but I can't sit here and tell you guys that it's not, because she was treated differently than she's saying than her male co-stars. I think this is about Pedro Pascal. I heard that he had tweeted something. I'm not exactly sure in this situation what he had tweeted. Maybe somebody can fill us in. Chris says Pedro at least stopped with controversial posts. She, however, did not. I don't know what happened with Pedro, and maybe that's part of society. The fact that I don't know what happened, and it's like, why don't I know that? But I know what Gina said. Not sure. Chazra said, when I said the thing about phone calls, I didn't mean the calls happening were unprovable. I mean, she won't be able to prove harassment. Yeah, possibly. Definitely possible. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Super chat in, getting your questions, comments, thoughts, concerns. Want to know your guys' feelings on this situation, which is complicated to say the least. Okay, continuing with Gina. She said, artists do not sign away our rights as American citizens when we enter into employment. I have spoken to all my co-stars since I was fired, and there's nothing but care and kind words between us. I respect their right to free speech and do not have to think the same on every issue to be their friend and work with them. I know they feel the same towards me. Okay, so when she says here, artists do not sign away our rights as American citizens in this one, I'm assuming that she had some kind of morality clause in her contract. A lot of contracts do have a morality clause. Well, you're not signing away your right as a citizen. I'm not exactly sure what she means here. I've had plenty of contracts that have had clauses that are different than my rights as a citizen. In a lot of my contracts, it tells me that I cannot dye my hair. As a citizen, I can dye my hair. And a lot of contracts I've had, it mentions what you can and cannot do. As a citizen, you can do that. But as a worker, you have the rights that are in your contract. And I don't know what her morality clause was. I don't even know that she did have one. I'd have to assume, because it's Disney. And but I'm not sure what it said. But that's why I think she included that part in there, which is strange, because it's like, if there was something and she's like, but it's my right as a citizen. It's like, oh, I don't really know what that means. Okay, now we get to this part about Elon. Oh, actually, I did want to say one more thing about this, about her coworkers. I will say this. My first movie I was in, Madness in the Method, Gina Carano was also in. I never met her, but we're in the same movie. I also am involved in a lot of different worlds that she has been involved in, from like athletic worlds to movie worlds to commentating worlds. So I know a lot of people who know her. And something that I will say is that the people that I spoke to about her that did know her, anybody I did ask, said she was so nice and lovely to them. For what it's worth. Nice people are bad people all the time. Mean people are good people sometimes. Mean as in like good in their soul, but sometimes they are harsh the way they talk. You can't judge a book by its cover, but for what it's worth, when we talk about her co-stars, I'm not surprised to hear that they had kind things to say to her, because at work, how often do you really know who somebody is, what their morals and their values are? Like, it's not usually conversations that come up at work. So she might be very polite and she might be very nice. So just thought that was worth stating, that anybody I spoke to that worked with her said she was really sweet. Okay. continuing on her message. Also, I did want to point out she started with after my 20 years of building a career from scratch, which I think is a funny way of putting it because doesn't everybody build a career from scratch? Also, she's like unbelievably wealthy, has always been unbelievably wealthy. Not saying she didn't build her career, but after building my career from scratch as opposed to every other human being on the planet, I don't really know what that part means. Okay. A couple months ago, Elon Musk tweeted that if you'd been fired from using platform X for exercising your right to free speech, he would like to offer those people legal representation. Quite the noble offer, but never in my wildest dreams would I have thought anyone would take on my case against Lucasfilm Disney. Still, I did respond back. I think I qualify, and thousands of people agreed, but I did not expect anything. To my surprise, a few months ago, I received an email from a lawyer who had been hired by X to look into my story and many others. Turns out, after sending them as much information as I could gather these past few months, my now lawyers and X believe wholeheartedly in my case and are moving forward. I'd like to express my deepest gratitude and thank you to Elon Musk and X for giving me an opportunity to bring my case to light. Pausing again there. This is, some of you guys may giggle at this. Could Elon ever run out of money? As a billionaire, didn't he drive X into the ground financially? And does he just always have more? Do rich people just always find more ways like this? And also, Gina Carano is super fucking rich. Super rich. Oh my God, my grandparents are calling right now, so I just got to make sure they're okay. Hold, please. Hello, honey. I'm live on air. Do you need me? Yeah, I am. I'll call you in 20 minutes. Okay, I love you. Bye-bye. Okay, all right, I'll call you on your house phone then. Sorry, we're just in a storm, so I need to make sure if they needed anything that I'm here. Okay, so just Elon just having so much money, but Gina has tons of money too. It's like, which rich person is going to pay for the legal fees? That being said, the amount of money that Elon has is clearly so much more than Gina. It's hard for anybody to take on a corporation. Disney obviously is a behemoth, and so I'm sure she's fucking stoked he's flipping the bill for this. I'm sure he's stoked because you never know when you sign up for these things how much money you're going to actually end up bleeding. And despite Gina Carano not making, she made millions, but despite her not being set for life, she has deep, deep family money for a long time. I think she is doing perfectly fine. I don't know if she has take on Disney money, but girl's still sitting pretty. Okay, so going down the road again, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Send in your questions, comments, concerns, thoughts on the Gina Carano situation. Would love to hear from you guys. Let's get to the rest of what it is she said. As for me, I would love to pick up where I left off and continue my journey of creating, participating in storytelling, which is my utmost passion and everything I worked so hard for. It's been difficult to move forward with the lies and labels stuck on me. Backed and encouraged by the most powerful entertainment company in the world, I'm grateful someone has come to my defense in such a powerful way and look forward to clearing my name. Thank you to all the people who have supported me and made your voices heard. I pray God blesses each and every one of you. With love, Gina Carano. And then for inquiries, contact, and then gives her Carano lawsuit email address. Okay. So this is, she wrote the wrong email address and then corrected herself in a later tweet. What do you guys think? Do you think there's any chance that she wins this? Do you think that there is how do you guys feel about this? I don't know who Koi is. Being very disingenuous and it's disappointing. That's hysterical. I've never been disingenuous in my entire life. I don't even think I've ever been accused of being disingenuous. I always wear my heart on my sleeve. I always say what I think, and I say what I mean what I say. And I don't even know which part you could think of that I was being disingenuous. Was it disingenuous when I picked up I faked the call from my grandparents, guys. That was disingenuous. It wasn't a real call from my grandparents. It was fake. I just needed a minute to catch my breath. I've actually made up my grandparents altogether. Do they even exist? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of this situation in terms of what we do with certain people. All I know is based on what she had said, as in not based on what people have said about her or what people have tweeted at her, based on what she said, based on this and this and this and this and this and several other tweets that I found that I saw with my own eyes that she wrote herself. I believe that she has opinions and views that I do not agree with and do not like. And do I think that you can have friends that have different opinions and views than you can? To some extent. But if I don't have any friends that I believe are transphobic. I don't have any friends that I believe are anti-Semitic. I don't have friends like that. So it's challenging because while I agree people have different opinions, I think judging people off their opinions is the best way to judge somebody. So that I also don't know when she's I also agree when she's referencing that male counterparts are treated differently. I think that's oftentimes true. That's funny. I actually think Elon was on the phone with Roxy. It was Elon. He was like, Elon, Rox, go a little easier on my girl. Go a little easier on Gina. She needs your support right now, babes. And I was like, okay, E, you got it. No problem. Can you just send me a quick bill? Because I could use $1 billion right now. A lot of people could. I also don't know. We never know what's fully in somebody's heart. Like with the Kevin Hart situation, when he would not apologize for the homophobic tweets that kept him from hosting, I believe it was the Oscars, could have been the Emmys, but I think it was the Oscars. You don't know I don't know her. You don't know her. I only know who she's showing us to be. And if I was her, and if who I showed people to be made them question who I was, and it wasn't who I was, I would just explain. I would just say, I thought it was fucking funny, beep, boop, bop, whatever it was. Clearly, it was a bad joke. My bad to the trans community. Will not happen again. Let me educate myself and support you guys as best as I can. Period. Done. So if you really are not something, why don't you just correct yourself and move forward? And that's what causes me to believe, like, if you're really not anti-Semitic, then why not after posting that say, oh, look, I posted this on my story. I didn't read the whole thing. When it was comparing Republicans to people who lost their lives in the Holocaust, I so don't feel that way. I do feel oftentimes like I am looked down upon for being a Republican in my industry, and it can be challenging, but that is nothing compared to the atrocities that Jews went through when 6 million of them were gassed to death during the Holocaust. Just say it. If that's what you believe, just say it. So that. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Let me know your questions, comments, concerns, thoughts on the Gina Carano situation. Was not the only bit of news that did come out today. There was also a ton of other things. Jonathan Major's sentencing, which is delayed until April 8th. His defense team filed a motion to set aside the verdict after the actor was found guilty of reckless assault in the 3rd degree and harassment in the 2nd degree. We know that he was convicted in December of these things, and the charges carry potential sentencing of up to 1 year in prison. The sentencing was initially supposed to take place on Tuesday, which is today. Majors appeared virtually for the hearing, in which prosecutors said they needed time to respond to the motion, which was filed on Monday, probably on purpose. The charges stem from an incident. We know all about this. Buying time, y'all, buying time. Again, this is another situation where it's like, how should these behemoth companies deal with things? Who should lose their jobs? Is it, sorry, I'm going to go back to the Gina Carano thing for a second. I'm going to say something that some people are thinking and that other people are not thinking. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to say it. I hope this doesn't bite me in the butt. Maybe it will. I thought Gina Carano did a really, really bad job in the show as an actress. I've heard, like I told you guys, that she is nice to work with. and nice on set. To me, she was the worst actress on the show. I would not have watched her spin-off show or spin-off whatever because I actually thought when she came on screen that it was painful to watch. So I didn't feel a loss from this. I would have felt a loss from Pedro Pascal. I'm not saying that we should cancel or not cancel, whatever, again, quote unquote, cancel or not cancel people based on their talent. That's ludicrous. But I am saying I feel like it's likely that Disney didn't want to move forward with her because they didn't think she was that good. And that's like one of the things here that I don't know how to like. How is Disney supposed to post that? Like, hey, we don't have intentions of moving forward with her. Not because she tweeted things that people interpreted as transphobic, but because she was not good. Because she was not good on the show. I didn't think she did a great job. And I will say acting is very hard and she's new to it. And maybe she would have gotten better over time. It just was not, she didn't do a good job. So there's that. So that's part of why. But going to Jonathan Majors is a very good actor. I actually didn't think he did a great job in the Loki series, but I think he's a very talented actor in general. So do I think, I know he's been talking about how he thinks he'll work again. Do I think that he probably has a better shot at working again? Even though what he did, what he's accused of and what he was convicted of is actions are worse than words, obviously. I think he probably has a better shot of working again, but not because he's a man, but because he's more talented in that department. And Gina, isn't she in another movie already funded by Ben Shapiro? And that audience, they do very well. So maybe just chill over there. The audience loves her. So she probably could work too. Anyway, the Jonathan Majors sentencing was delayed. What do you guys think? Do you think that means that something will, I don't even want to say positive will happen for him, but that there will be a different outcome? Or do you think it'll be just the same thing 2 months later? Jake Yakoveta in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer says, Google says you're worth $2 million. So why didn't you buy my drinks every time we saw each other? I know, Jake. I actually saw on Google that I was worth $5 million, which was unbelievable because I have gnats in my apartment and a major leak and could really use some help with those things. And I don't know why I haven't tapped into my $2 to $5 million yet, but I probably should. Oh, Kevin, the movie she made with Ben Shapiro, Daily Wire, were awful. It already happened? But did they do well? Oh, Michael says the Daily Wire movies aren't working out and our conservative audience has been misogynistic. Ooh, tough. That's tough. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Send in your questions, comments, concerns, thoughts on Gina Carano, on Jonathan Majors, and on this bit of news, which is that Tucker Carlson says he's interviewing Vladimir Putin. I saw this headline and was like, what? We know that Tucker Carlson, who used to be Fox News host, is in Russia to interview the Russian president about his invasion of Ukraine. I have follow-up questions. Russian President Vladimir Putin will sit down for his first interview with an American outlet in 3 years with Tucker Carlson. Carlson announced the interview on X on Tuesday. Everybody's going over to X to talk about things that the conservatives want to hear. Carlson announced an X on Tuesday accusing other media outlets of being corrupt in their coverage of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I can't even get through that sentence without giggling. Okay. Quote, since the day the war in Ukraine began, American media outlets have spoken to scores of people from Ukraine, and they have done scores of interviews with the Ukrainian President Zelensky. This is all coming from a video from Carlson. We ourselves have put in a request for an interview with Zelensky. We hope he accepts. But the interview he's already done in the United States are not traditional interviews. They are fawning pep sessions. Not a single Western journalist is bothered to interview the president of the other country involved in the conflict, Vladimir Putin. Most Americans have no idea why Putin invaded Ukraine or what his goal are now. You've never heard his voice. That's wrong. Americans have a right to know all they can about the war they're implicated in, and we have the right to tell them all about it. What does he mean that we don't know why he invaded Ukraine? I feel it's very obvious why he invaded Ukraine. I think everybody knows why he invaded Ukraine. Why do dictators invade other people's land and try to take it over for their own? I want more. My land. Mine. Pretty simple. I mean, what? Honestly, just imagine. Like, you haven't heard the other side of the story. It's Putin's side. Okay. Let's just hear it. Also, many people want to interview Putin, whether you are on his side, nobody with a brain, or not. You, of course, outlets want to interview the president of an invading country. Like, what? That's my toy. Right. Oh, back in the USSR, y'all. Okay. Tucker Carlson, man, really doing the Lord's work. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. This is a hard pivot to talking about Yellowstone, but I'm going to do it anyway. For those of you guys who don't watch Yellowstone, don't worry. You don't have to watch it to understand what is happening here. So you guys know that we're supposed to do a fifth season and a sixth season. The sixth season was completely scrapped. The fifth season of the show, Kevin Costner was like, I'm outie. You guys are not paying me enough. I've asked for more. You're not giving me the days off I need. Whatever it is, peace, deuces. So for the final season of the show, he's not even going to be in it. That's a huge bummer for fans. I don't know how they're going to justify it. I don't know what they're going to do about it. But now there's supposed to be a Matthew McConaughey spinoff show. But 3 other remaining leads of Yellowstone are supposed to be in that show. And surprise, surprise, they are fighting currently over money. So Cole Hauser, Kelly Riley, and Luke Grimes want raises for this spinoff. Makes sense. They're trying to bring over the Yellowstone audience by bringing those 3 people. It is kind of wild to hear stuff like this, and I do feel like this is why the people who were not in favor of the strike, the SAG strike, it's because they read articles like this, which are kind of bothersome sometimes, but I'll explain why it's not bothersome. Okay, so Riley, Grimes, and Hauser have reportedly asked for big per episode salary bumps in order to return to Yellowstone franchise. $1.5 million for Riley, $1.25 million for Hauser, and he currently makes $700,000 per episode, so that's a big bump. It's weird for the entire world to know how much you make for work. That is strange. People hear those numbers and they're like 1.5 per episode, like, and you guys were on strike. It's like, I just want to remind people that for me, I make $200 for an episode of something. So it's not the majority of people. I have shot entire movies and not been paid $1. Not $1. They can do that. They can pay you nothing legally. You can shoot for so it's just not. I just don't want people to think that this is real life. But I will say, they know their worth, and the shows make so much fucking money, and you guys are the stars of the show, and you want the pay bump, and you're already been tossed around, and this show's already been kind of screwing you. I know, Sands of Tatooine, I'm worth $5 million. That's what the internet keeps telling me. Why do I wear the same 4 sweatsuits every day? But I think this is kind of wild. Like, they don't want any more bad press for this. And I understand Matthew McConaughey is a star. They've had a lot of stars in the franchise, Harrison Ford included. But they should probably give raises to the people who need raises that are going to bring over all these other people. And I think it's because they want to get paid more than Matthew McConaughey. And while Matthew McConaughey is a star, Kelly Riley is the best actress I've ever seen in my entire life. And I will be watching for her and not for him. I just have to say that out loud. I like Matthew McConaughey a lot. I probably wouldn't watch the spinoff. Kelly Riley's going to be on it. I'm definitely watching. Give her money. Thank you. Please and thank you. Spark of Love, $200. You're worth $5 million. You must be the hardest working person in Hollywood. I feel like I am. I truly feel like I am. I want to see this Yellowstone spinoff, but I'm really nervous about the future of Yellowstone. It doesn't seem like they have their shit together, and that gets me concerned. What do you guys think? Let me know your final thoughts on the Gina Carano situation, Jonathan Majors, Tucker Carlson, Yellowstone, anything else that we discussed today. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Jess Kuo says, I feel like Taylor Sheridan has been pocketing a lot of the production costs to pay for the $320 million ranch he bought instead of paying the cast. Does he own that ranch? Oh my God, the tea is piping hot, Jess. Taylor he bought the ranch. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Whoa. That's wild. I'm going to get out of here in the next couple minutes because I've been here for an hour, but send in any last minute Streamlabs. John Get Bent just send in some support to the Streamlabs, which I really appreciate. Shout out to everybody who supported the Streamlabs today, including Lloyd Nance, Mike Joyce, Jess Kuo, Jake Yacovetta, John Get Bent, and also to our super chatter of the day, Chazarus. Appreciate you. For all three of your super chats. You are awesome. Shout out to everybody who watched the show, who has thoughts on this. Let's try to be kind to one another. I know that some of the entertainment news borders on political news, which it can be challenging to remain civil, but we try to here. The only thing we're intolerant of is intolerance. And so be kind to one another. There's already so many effing bullies out there. Speaking of which, did anybody watch The Bachelor last night? Oh my God. I know I just lost at least 50% of you guys, but oh my God, that one girl who called the other girl a bully, but the other girl wasn't bullying her at all, and it's all on camera. It's like, what the actual fuck? Why is this happening? Oh my God. Just snuck in a little Bachelor talk at the end. Just a little bit. If you want to follow me, find me more this week, I will be filming with Christian tomorrow, so you can see Big Thing on Thursday with me, Only Stupid Answers with DJ on Friday. I will be here tomorrow night with my girl Steph Sabra over on the World Girls for another episode of the World Girls. We give everything a whirl. And I'm filming twice a week for Real Rejects right now, so just keep on popping over to that channel, see what I'm doing over there. I know I whispered it because I didn't want to stress the people out. I didn't want to just scream Bachelor, so I was like Bachelor. I thought that nobody would notice. Did it work? Okay. That's where you can find me. Plus, a bunch of acting stuff going on. Party of Darkness right now is doing its finishing funds for the movie that I shot last year for them, the horror movie, which is awesome. And also right now, Gunplay is trying to finance their movie. They're attempting to do that. They can only do it with your help. I know. I'm out here always asking for you guys' money. I'm fan funded until the day I'm not. Until the day that I can ask Taylor for 1.4 million an episode or somehow tap into my $5 million that apparently exists on the internet. Haunted Autumn says, did you hear about the study that said closing the toilet seat doesn't stop the flumes? No. Is that true? I didn't see that. That made me so sad. How do we stop the flumes? They can just still get through that way? You can't stop the flumes. Stay safe, stay sane. Put down the toilet seat and lid. We don't want those flumes. Hopefully that works. Don't trend with the Holocaust. Justice for all the people who lost their lives due to excessive force. All of the people. Wherever you're on the rainbow, we love you. We stand with the women of Iran, some of the bravest women we've ever seen. And wherever you are, the Zen one himself, Glenn Caesar, we're thinking about you every day. Golden Sparkles. Golden sparkles to all. That's what Glenn would have wanted. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. And I will see you all over the internet this week. Later.